Welcome to Book Summary Podcast, your gateway to personal transformation. Each episode delivers big ideas from the world's most impactful books on mindset, productivity, and success, all in just a few minutes. Ready to turn knowledge into action? Let's get started.
Okay, let's unpack this. You know that feeling when you're just overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information out there, but you desperately want to be cruelly well-informed?
Yeah, definitely. Or when you see someone achieving incredible things seemingly effortlessly.
Exactly. And you wonder, what's their secret? What are they doing differently? Well, today, our deep dive promises maybe not a shortcut exactly, but a powerful path to understanding.
Profound understanding, really, of these timeless principles.
Right. Principles that can genuinely transform your personal life, your professional life, everything.
And what's foundational here, I think, is that the sources we're looking at, they aren't just about quick tips or, life hacks.
No, this goes much deeper.
Much deeper. We're drawing from Stephen R. Covey's iconic work, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Just landmark stuff.
Absolutely. And also getting some insights from his son, Sean Covey, bringing it into the modern day, too.
Right. And these texts, they offer a really holistic approach. Integrated. It's not just about individual habits in isolation.
No, it's about how they connect, the sequence.
Exactly. It emphasizes that the real power lies in understanding their interconnectedness and applying them intentionally, in order.
So our mission in this deep dive is to really pull out the most important nuggets from these sources.
Yeah, to see how these principles, when you really get them and apply them, create this comprehensive pathway.
A path to genuine effectiveness. And like you said, it's not just techniques you tack on.
No, it's a much deeper understanding of, human behavior, our potential, how we interact.
Okay, so get ready for some hopefully significant aha moments, things that might just shift your perspective entirely.
Maybe even change how you approach your day-to-day life.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting, I think. For centuries, when people talked about success, the focus was on what Covey calls the character ethic.
That internal stuff.
Right. Core virtues. Things like integrity, humility, courage, justice, patience.
Industry, simplicity, building that solid foundation from within.
But the sources show, maybe over the last 100 years or so, there's been a pretty big shift.
A really significant shift. And it says a lot about maybe our modern culture.
How so?
Well, the focus moved more towards what he calls the personality ethic.
Okay. What's that involve?
It's more about the surface.
Yeah.
Public image, skills, quick fix techniques.
Like communication tricks or that power look thing.
Exactly. Or even faking interest in others' hobbies to get what you want. That kind of thing.
Wow. So character still gets mentioned sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. But it's often treated like just one ingredient among many. It gets compartmentalized.
Instead of being the foundation.
Right. The main push became about influence tactics, power plays, positive attitude, but often just as a Band-Aid.
Masking deeper issues.
Exactly. Masking those deeper underlying problems. And the real danger there, I think, is this illusion of control, believing you can just hack relationships with techniques.
Forgetting that trust is built differently.
Totally. Trust comes from authenticity, vulnerability, not a polished facade.
So what this really boils down to, the core message here is, it's simple but powerful. What we are communicates far more eloquently than anything we say or do.
That hits hard, doesn't it? Especially today.
Yeah, with all the curated online personas, the public images, this suggests that try as you might to craft that perfect image, your underlying character, or maybe the lack of it.
It eventually shows. It affects trust in ways no filter or slick presentation ever could.
There's that quote from William George Jordan about the silent, unconscious, unseen influence of his life.
Yeah, it's like this constant radiation of who you really are.
Not what you pretend to be. And that's why we instinctively trust some people more, right? Regardless of charisma.
Absolutely. The real influence comes from character. If your private self doesn't match your public self,
then it's hard for people to feel safe to connect.
Impossible, really. That internal consistency is crucial.
Oh, okay.
Because the personality ethic often pushes us towards what Covey calls secondary greatness. Public recognition, status, money. Without building the foundation first.
Without building primary greatness, which is just goodness of character, we hit these problems in our interactions, these acute pains.
And we want a quick fix.
Right. But those pains are usually symptoms of deeper chronic problems rooted in our character.
So the Band-Aids don't work long term.
They often make things worse.
Yeah.
You have to address the root cause inside yourself.
Okay, that makes sense. And this leads us right into paradigms, doesn't it?
It does. This is fundamental. Paradigms are basically the lenses we see the world through.
Our maps of reality.
Exactly. Our assumptions, our beliefs.
Mm.
And they affect everything. Attitudes, behaviors, decisions.
How you interpret things.
Everything. And if your map is wrong...
Doesn't matter how hard you try.
Nope. You'll just be efficiently going in the wrong direction. Your effort is wasted if the map's flawed.
Right. Okay.
Which brings up that fascinating question. Can two people look at the exact same thing?
And see something totally different.
Totally different. Think about that classic optical illusion. The young woman, a woman picture. Oh, yeah, I know that one.
It's perfect, right? Same black lines, same white spaces.
But people see completely different images.
Exactly. Based on their conditioning, their experience, what they were primed to see. It shows how where we stand depends on where we sit.
Our perspective shapes what we see.
Undeniably. And our brains jump to conclusions, create a story before we even have all the data.
That immediate judgment, it takes a jolt to shift it.
A real paradigm shift,
Yeah.
like resetting your mental GPS.
And that's the aha moment.
Uh-huh.
Because the personality ethic fails because it tries to change behavior.
Without examining the underlying paradigm.
Like pruning dead branches, but ignoring the roots.
Precisely. Real change comes from shifting how you see things. That naturally changes what you do.
So let's look at some examples of these shifts in action. The subway incident is pretty famous.
Yeah, powerful story. Covey's on a New York subway.
And these kids are just running wild, yelling, throwing things, bothering people.
Creating total chaos. And the father is sitting there, eyes closed, seemingly oblivious.
And Covey's getting really irritated, right? Thinking, do something.
Understandably. But then he learns.
The man's wife, the children's mother, had just died. Like an hour ago.
Instant shift. From irritation and judgment.
To deep compassion. Understanding. It wasn't about techniques. It was a fundamental shift in seeing the situation.
Heartbreaking. And not all shifts are that sudden. Take the baseball dilemma.
Right. With their son, he hated baseball, cried about it.
Said he'd never be any good.
Yeah.
And they tried encouraging him, helping him,
Yeah.
trying to fix him.
But then they realized their own motives were involved.
Yeah, their social comparison motives. Comparing him to other kids, tying their parental pride to his performance.
Ouch. That's tough to admit.
Harry. Their breakthrough came when they shifted focus inward, to their own motives, their own perception of him.
Trying to understand him, his identity, his worth, separate from baseball.
Exactly. And it was a slow, difficult, deliberate process, changing their own map to empower him.
That takes courage. Then there's Viktor Frankl.
An incredibly profound example. Psychiatrist, Holocaust survivor.
Endured unimaginable suffering in Nazi death camps. Starvation, torture, loss.
Every day facing life or death. Yet, he had this revelation.
The last of the human freedoms.
Yes, the power to choose his response between the stimulus, the horrific circumstances, and his reaction.
They could control his body, his environment.
But not his inner self, not his spirit. He could choose how it affected him. He realized he was responsible.
Able to respond, responsible for his own life, even in hell.
A monumental testament to self-awareness, transcending circumstance.
And Carol's story, too, facing terminal illness.
So moving. She chose to limit pain meds to stay mentally clear.
Whispering her thoughts, sharing her feelings.
Becoming this enormous source of inspiration. Through her character, her worth, her chosen response, even facing death.
Wow, it really highlights that proactive strength.
It does. And all these stories point to that unique human gift. Self-awareness.
The ability to examine our own maps, our scripts.
To see if they're based on reality, on principles, or just conditioning, old assumptions, circumstances.
That ability to choose our response.
Mm.
That's what makes us human.
It lifts us above instinct. It allows us to transcend our past, our environment.
And actively shape our own future, our own destiny.
So once you really get that power of paradigms, how they shape everything.
Then you're ready for habit 1. Be proactive.
Yes. Recognizing our fundamental nature isn't just to react, but to act.
To not just be acted upon. It's about taking responsibility.
Absolutely. Recognizing you have the power, the responsibility to make things happen. You're the creator.
You're the author of your story.
Precisely. And our language, interestingly, reveals a lot about this.
How so?
Well, reactive people use phrases like, That's just the way I am.
Which implies it's fixed, unchangeable, takes away responsibility.
Exactly. Or he makes me so mad. Like your emotions are totally controlled by others.
You can't do that. I don't have the time. The time dictates your actions.
Right. But proactive language is empowering. I choose, I prefer, I will.
It reflects a different mindset, acknowledging choice.
A fundamental shift.
Yeah.
And taking initiative, being proactive, it doesn't mean being pushy or aggressive.
No, it's about seeing that gap between where you are and where you want to be.
And taking responsibility to bridge it. The example of getting a better job is great.
Instead of just sending out resumes and waiting.
Be proactive. Research the company's problems. Understand their needs.
Then show how you can solve those specific problems. A solution-selling approach.
Exactly. That sets you apart immediately. You become the solution, not just another applicant.
Okay, that makes sense. What about mistakes? How do proactive people handle them?
They don't dwell or blame. They acknowledge it instantly, correct, and learn from it.
Like T.J. Watson from IBM said, success is on the far side of failure.
Right. And the second mistake is not owning the first one. Covering it up. That just hurts you more.
Prevents learning. Like that quarterback son.
Yeah, learning to snap his wristband to mentally reset after a bad play.
So one mistake doesn't derail the whole game. Applying proactivity right there.
Instantly. And this habit, it gets tested constantly in just ordinary life.
The 30-day test idea. Practicing it daily.
How you handle traffic. An angry customer. A difficult child.
It's in those small choices we build the muscle.
The capacity to handle the big stuff. Focusing on your circle of influence, what you can control.
Not getting lost in the circle of concern, things you can't.
And we even saw this in that extraordinary situation, the flood.
Right, the company that had 7 habits training.
They put habit 1 to the ultimate test. Didn't wait for help.
Immediately announced no layoffs. Helped employees whose homes were flooded.
Salvaged vital equipment. They took responsibility, acted, didn't wait to be rescued.
Treating employees like family. Proactivity as their operating system in crisis.
True leadership.
Okay, so from proactivity, we move to personal leadership with habit 2. Begin with the end in mind.
Yes, this is based on that powerful principle. All things are created twice.
A mental creation first, then a physical one.
Right, like building a house.
Yeah.
You visualize it, blueprint it, plan every detail.
Before you hammer a single nail.
Exactly. That mental blueprint guides the physical construction. Skip the first creation.
And the result is haphazard, inefficient, not what you intended.
Applies to everything. Planning a meeting, designing your life.
So what does this mean for me, for you listening? The sources suggest that mental exercise.
Visualizing your own funeral. It sounds morbid, but it's incredibly clarifying.
What do you want people to say as a spouse, parent, friend, colleague?
What character? What contributions? What achievements? What difference did you make?
It helps you zero in on what truly matters most, your deepest values.
So you can live in alignment with that desired legacy. What would your principle-centered obituary say?
How do we actually do this?
It combines those human gifts, self-awareness from habit 1,
with imagination, visualizing potential futures.
and conscience, our connection to universal principles, our unique purpose.
That synergy empowers us to write our own script.
Instead of just living out scripts others gave us, or scripts based on past hurts or circumstances.
And often it's about re-scripting, right? Changing old, ineffective paradigms.
Definitely. Anwar Sadat is an amazing example.
Former president of Egypt, deeply scripted in hatred for Israel.
Publicly vowed never, never, never shake an Israeli hand.
But through profound internal rescripting, a huge paradigm shift.
He later signed a peace treaty, lived out of imagination and principle, not just memory and conditioning.
Wow, transcending a lifetime of animosity.
The power of a personal mission statement comes in here too.
Centered on timeless principles.
It becomes your personal constitution, a changeless core guiding your decisions.
Providing strength amidst constant change.
In a world full of trends and pressures, it's your anchor, your true north, ensuring integrity.
And this isn't just for individuals, that hotel example.
Fantastic. Every employee, housekeepers, waitresses, everyone involved in creating the mission
It
statement
wasn't just top down, it was shared.
became the hub of a great wheel. Clarified values, affected hiring, training, pay, customer service,
Transform their whole service culture.
in A.B. Combs Elementary School. Remarkable story.
Struggling with low enrollment, low morale.
Principal Muriel Summers adopts this mission. Develop leaders one child at a time.
Helping kids lead their own lives. Teaching them the 7 habits.
The results were incredible. Big jumps in self-confidence, huge drops in discipline problems, higher test scores.
Shows the power of a shared, principle-centered vision, empowering everyone.
Even the youngest ones.
Visualization is a key tool here, too.
Directly linked to beginning with the end in mind. Dr. Garfield's research on peak performers.
Like NASA astronauts rehearsing everything on Earth first.
Visualizing success. Or the college quarterback visualizing relaxation under pressure.
But the key is, if you visualize the wrong thing, you'll produce the wrong thing.
Clarity of purpose, that precise mental creation, is essential for visualization to work.
Okay, so building that foundation, habit 1, habit 2.
Now, habit 3, put first things first. This is about managing yourself, your time, your energy to bring that vision from habit 2 into reality.
The second creation in action, where execution meets aspiration.
Discipline aligning with desire.
And there's that distinction. Manage from the left, lead from the right.
Right. Leadership, right brain, is about vision, direction. Are you in the right jungle?
Pursuing the right goals.
Management, left brain, is about efficiency, sequencing, application. Clearing that jungle effectively.
But good management doesn't matter if you're in the wrong jungle.
Exactly. You might just be efficiently doing the wrong thing, building the wrong house.
So for our busy lives, we tend to react to urgent things, right?
Constantly. Things screaming for attention, but not always contributing long term.
Habit 3 pushes us to focus on quadrant 2.
Important, but not urgent activities. Prevention, planning, relationship building, self-renewal.
They require more initiative because they don't scream.
But they bring phenomenal compounding long-term results, building our capacity for the future.
And most planners just help organize crises.
The key insight is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities.
Ideally within the context of the week, allows flexibility.
And addresses the crucial people dimension. Sometimes, principle-centered living means subordination of schedules to people.
Prioritizing relationships over rigid timetables. Effectiveness over mere efficiency.
Which leads us to delegation, a really powerful tool.
We accomplish things either by delegating to time, doing it ourselves.
Or delegating to other people, which, done well, creates exponential effectiveness.
People resist it because it seems like it takes too much time up front.
Often, yes. But effective principle-centered delegation is maybe the highest leverage activity there is.
And there are two kinds. Gopher delegation versus stewardship delegation.
Gopher's micromanaging. Go for this, do that, tell me when it's done. Focuses on methods.
The manager stays responsible for results.
Stewardship delegation focuses on results. Empowers the other person.
Clear outcomes, guidelines, resources, accountability, consequences.
A total shift from how to what and why.
The Green and Clean story illustrates this perfectly.
Yeah, Covey empowering his young son to mow the lawn.
Not micromanaging how, just defining the result. Green and clean.
Took significant upfront training explaining what green and clean really meant.
But the downstream value was huge. Better relationship, shared responsibility, the son's self-reliance.
It changes the whole dynamic. Empowers the person to be their own boss, driven by conscience, creativity, builds real responsibility.
Okay, so now, with those private victories, sorted independence, strong inner character.
Now you're ready for the public victories, the habits of interdependence.
And this is key. You can't really be interdependent without being independent first.
Absolutely. Can't be a good team player, a good partner, if you haven't mastered yourself.
It all builds.
And the core truth underpinning all healthy relationships is this. There can be no friendship without confidence, and no confidence without integrity.
That interpersonal acute pain we feel, conflict, frustration.
It almost always comes from deeper, chronic problems, often rooted in our own character.
And those personality ethic band-aids?
They just mask the chronic issue. Temporary relief, no real healing.
The solution always starts inside. Inside our circle of influence, our own character.
Our ability to build trust flows directly from our integrity, our self-mastery.
Okay, so what does this mean for our relationships? The emotional bank account metaphor is brilliant.
It really is. Every positive interaction, kindness, apology, it's a deposit. Builds trust.
Broken promises, disrespect, unkindness, withdrawals, deplete trust.
Like a financial account, consistent deposits build a reserve, allows for occasional withdrawals without disaster.
But constant withdrawals or no deposits.
The account gets overdrawn. Low trust, strained interactions, broken relationships.
So what are the key deposits we need to make?
Understanding the individual is huge. truly seeking to know them deeply.
And attending to little things because
In relationships, the little things are the big things, like the father covering his sleeping son with a coat, remembering small details,
keeping commitments is vital too, honoring promises.
and clarifying expectations. So important. Almost all relationship difficulties are rooted in conflicting or ambiguous expectations.
These consistent small acts build huge trust over time.
Immense trust. What about withdrawals? We all make them.
When you mess up, the best deposit is a sincere apology.
Not a conditional one. Not, I'm sorry if you felt.
But a genuine, I was wrong, that was unkind, I showed you no respect.
I embarrassed you, and I shouldn't have. Those sincere words make great deposits.
Shows character strength, integrity.
It takes real courage to apologize quickly, genuinely, without excuses. It rebuilds trust powerfully.
Like the story of the friend building the miniature Great Wall of China with his son.
Yeah, over a year and a half, making what mattered to his son matter to him.
A sustained, intentional deposit, not a quick fix.
Created this profound bonding experience.
Yeah?
Moved the relationship from a sore spot
Where they struggled to connect.
to a source of joy and strength. Shows the power of investing in what matters to the other person, building that trust reservoir.
Okay, that leads us to habit 4. Think win-win.
The habit of interpersonal leadership is not me or you.
It's both of us, seeking mutual benefit, mutual respect.
Recognizing that lasting success isn't built on someone else's failure. Everyone should feel like a winner.
And this contrasts sharply with other paradigms people use.
Oh yeah. There's win-lose authoritarian, competitive. My win requires your loss.
Then lose-win, appeasing, seeking popularity, but breeds resentment. You feel like a doormat.
And it may be the worst. Lose-lose, adversarial. If I can't win, neither can you. Dragging everyone down.
Often seen in bitter conflicts, right? Wanting the enemy to lose, even if you lose too.
Exactly. Comes from highly dependent, miserable people. Understanding these helps you see your own defaults.
And often driving these is the scarcity mentality.
Yes. Seeing life as a fixed pie. Zero-sum game. Someone else's success means less for you.
People with this struggle to share credit, power, profit.
Find it hard to be genuinely happy for other success, even family or friends. It's deep insecurity.
The opposite is the abundance mentality.
Believing there's plenty for everyone. Success, happiness, credit.
Comes from inner security, self-worth. Leads naturally to sharing, appreciation, collaboration, celebrating others' wins.
And living win-win isn't just a technique. It has 5 interconnected dimensions.
Okay, what are they?
First, character. Needs that balance of courage and consideration.
Courage to state your needs, consideration for theirs.
Second, relationships. Built on high trust. From that emotional bank account, no trust, no win-win.
Third, agreements. Clear win-win performance agreements. Define results, guidelines, resources, accountability, consequences.
Like that management training program, clear objectives, clear rewards for meeting them, motivating everyone.
Fourth, systems. This is crucial. All organizational systems, training, planning, communication, pay, must support win-win.
That company where managers creamed sales because the compensation system was misaligned.
Shows how a bad system undermines good intentions, creates win-lose despite culture claims.
Exactly. And fifth, processes. The how. Engaging in mutual brainstorming, creative problem-solving to find solutions that satisfy everyone, fostering collaboration.
And sometimes a win-win just isn't possible.
Right. And in that case, there's the mature option, no deal.
Agreeing to disagree agreeably. Better than forcing a bad deal.
Avoids creating expectations that lead to disillusionment later. Recognizes different goals up front.
Like that lawsuit resolved with a fair buyout. Preserving the relationship. Understanding intent save them from destructive conflict.
Yeah, a powerful example of finding a different path.
Okay, next. Habit 5. This feels like a big one. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
It's a huge paradigm shift for most of us, because we usually listen with the intent to reply.
Not to truly understand. We filter everything through our own experience, our autobiography.
Projecting our motives onto them, thinking we're objective, but we're really limited by our own perspective.
So how do true professionals operate? Doctors, engineers.
They diagnose before they prescribe. Always. You wouldn't trust a doctor who prescribed meds without understanding your symptoms, right?
Of course not.
Same with communication. Effective influence requires deeply understanding the other person first, building confidence in your understanding before offering solutions.
But we often make those autobiographical responses.
Yeah, probing, evaluating, advising, interpreting, all based on our frame of reference.
And it shuts people down. They don't feel heard.
That poignant example of the son trying to talk about high school being a waste.
And the father immediately jumps in with advice from his experience. You need an education. Have you really tried?
Filtering it all through his own script. Not hearing the son's unique struggle.
Until the son gives up, I'll never be able to tell you. So sad.
It really is. And what's fascinating and humbling is the humility this takes.
You literally have to get out of your own head and into the head of another.
Covey admits it's his greatest difficulty, especially when tired or convinced he's right. Still struggles with listening to reply, not understand.
Even with his own son, Michael Sean, about playing football.
Yeah, his own dreams versus truly understanding his son's feelings. That honesty reinforces how hard this is for everyone. It's a lifelong practice.
But when you do listen empathically,
The rewards are huge. Tremendous dividends in open communication. People feel valued, understood.
you catch potential problems early.
And then you can present your ideas contextually. They land better because people know you get their concerns.
You often learn and change your own ideas in the process.
Exactly. Empathy expands your reality, makes you wiser, more effective.
Okay, so when you combine win-win with empathic understanding, that unlocks habit 6, Synergize.
Yes, the highest activity in all life, creating new alternatives that weren't there before.
Where 1 + 1 = 8 or 16.
It's not just compromise, where everyone gives something up. It's transcending the initial options, collaboratively creating something new and better.
So why value differences? Many see them as problems.
The animal school fable illustrates it perfectly, forcing all animals into all subjects.
Running, climbing, swimming, flying leads to mediocrity, suppresses strength.
In reality, two people can see the same thing and both be right. Like the young lady, old lady picture again.
Embracing differences adds to our collective knowledge. We all have limited data alone.
Valuing diversity isn't just PC, it's essential for breakthroughs. Conflict often isn't right-wrong, just incomplete info. That's where synergy happens.
And synergy works on those restraining forces, the obstacles to change.
Instead of pushing harder against them like a spring,
Synergy creates a safe space to talk about them openly.
which unfreezes them, loosens them up, and new insights emerge, transforming those very obstacles into driving forces, moving everyone forward together.
A total shift in approaching conflict.
And we see powerful examples. That university class transformed by one student's vulnerability.
Leading to a collective shift, a new direction nobody planned.
The Covey Leadership Center creating its mission statement synergistically.
So it was embedded in the hearts and minds of everyone. A living guide.
That insurance company transforming boring planning meetings.
Into creative sessions generating brilliant alternatives by embracing diverse views. Replacing ego battles with mutual learning.
And that incredibly deep, Frigidaire hang-up example.
The conversation between Covey and his wife about her deep financial fears.
Linked to her father's past business failure.
Through open, empathic listening.
They achieved synergistic understanding, healing a deep wound, strengthening their marriage profoundly. Shows how synergy builds connection.
So, applying habits 4, 5, and 6, whether it's a family decision or a complex business issue.
You co-create solutions far better than either side could alone. True interdependence, richer outcomes, deeper relationships, collective brilliance.
Okay, finally, habit 7, sharpen the saw. This is all about taking dedicated time for renewal.
Across 4 crucial dimensions. Like the woodsman sharpening his axe for hours before chopping.
You might think, I'm too busy, no time to exercise, read, meditate, vacation.
But the point is, in reality, you don't have time not to.
Neglecting renewal means dulling your most important tool, yourself.
And a dull saw makes everything harder, slower, less effective.
So what are the 4 dimensions? They're interconnected.
First, physical renewal. Consciously exercising our bodies regularly, consistently.
Preserving and enhancing our capacity to work, adapt, enjoy life.
It's classic quadrant 2, important, not urgent, brings phenomenal long-term results.
Being proactive about health, even when it's hard, improves energy, clarity, comfort.
Covey talks about his father, Stephen, really living this.
Riding his stationary bike while reading or mountain biking in Montana.
Keeping that early morning time sacred, fueling body and mind.
And that habit even saved a life.
Yeah, using the binoculars he always carried while biking to spot a struggling fisherman. An unexpected benefit of consistent self-care. Shows how preparation pays off.
Second dimension.
Spiritual renewal. Connecting with your core values, timeless truths, deepest purpose.
Through prayer, scripture, meditation, nature, great literature, music.
It's often very private, but supremely important. your moral compass, source of meaning, peace, intrinsic security.
It's about finding that purpose. Like Franklin Sallee said, a happy, healthy life comes from contribution, meaningful projects.
Beyond self-interest, George Bernard Shaw's quote.
This is the true joy in life, that being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one.
Burning like a splendid torch, not just existing.
Third dimension, mental renewal.
Continuous education, honing and expanding the mind.
Can be formal education, but often proactive self-education.
Like colleagues reviewing journals together, sharing insights, staying current, challenging assumptions, improving skills.
Preventing mental stagnation in a changing world.
And this includes wisely managing inputs, technology, media.
Television. Good servant, but a poor master.
Using habit 3, put first things first to ensure tech serves your mission, not consumes your time or dulls your mind.
Proactive learning, not just passive consumption.
4th, social emotional renewal.
This comes from intrinsic security derived from service, building deep relationships.
Genuinely valuing differences, operating from abundance, being happy for others' success.
Recognizing our well-being is tied to connections, contribution, reinforces our own worth and belonging.
Stephen and Sandra Covey's relationship is a great example. 56 years.
Their ritual of connecting daily, riding that Honda slowly enough to talk it over.
Discussing everything. She was his sounding board, helping simplify his ideas.
A true win-win relationship, showing how shared renewal fuels connection, growth, partnership.
And all 4 dimensions feed into the daily private victory.
Dedicating at least an hour a day to renewal, physical, spiritual, mental.
It's completely within your circle of influence. You control this.
Not just a suggestion, it's necessary quadrant 2 time to integrate the habits, become principle-centered, maintain peak effectiveness.
Sean Covey saw how his father's daily private victory, meditation, reading, exercise early morning, fueled smart decisions later.
Complex negotiations handled with clarity. It's the foundation for the daily public victory.
Provides the security, clarity, energy to apply all the other habits effectively, leading to greater influence.
And the warning about technology is stark, isn't it?
Especially now. Tech is sucking away our time and energy and dulling our saws like nothing else.
You were mentioning teens spending 35 hours a week on screens, leading to depression, anxiety.
Alarming. Underscores the urgent need to manage tech proactively, not let it manage us.
So how do we reclaim control?
The advice is practical. Work with your family. Create a family data contract.
A win-win agreement around technology use.
Ensure tech serves your family's mission, values, doesn't consume you, fragment relationships, cause harm. Apply the habits to manage this powerful tool. #tag outro.
So wrapping this up, what does it all mean as you go forward? The 7 habits aren't just separate ideas.
No, they're deeply interconnected. A holistic system.
Improving in one, like being proactive.
It enhances your ability to practice others, like beginning with the end in mind.
Leading to that upward spiral of growth, increased effectiveness across your whole life.
It's a self-reinforcing cycle. Builds momentum.
And the real power here, it's not tricks, right?
No, it lies in timeless, fundamental principles. Covey stressed he didn't invent them, he discovered them.
They're common sense.
But what is common sense is not always common practice. Stephen Covey himself admitted struggling daily with all 7.
It's a continuous journey, constant sharpening of the saw, not a destination.
He said the more you know you don't know. Requires humility, consistent effort.
It really comes back to integrity, doesn't it? Being principle-centered.
Which, over time, produces true loyalty, trust, not just being liked.
Covey refusing to criticize the president publicly because he hoped to influence him one day.
And his integrity paid off. He got the chance. It's better to be trusted than liked. Integrity is the bedrock.
For respect, relationships, real influence.
And remember that powerful line, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, always ineffectiveness.
But once you commit, step forward.
Providence moves too. Unforeseen events, help, resources emerge from that decision. The universe supports your purpose.
So, as you reflect on all this, here's a final thought. On their deathbeds, nobody wishes they'd spent more time at the office.
They think about loved ones, family, those they served.
So for you listening, how will you ensure your life is used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one?
Making it burn as brightly, as purposefully as possible, leaving the legacy you truly desire.
And maybe what specific principle from today will you choose to commit to first?
The one that could spark a new paradigm shift, setting that upward spiral in motion for you.
Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep growing.
Thanks for tuning in to the Book Summary Podcast. If you found value in today's episode, hit that like button, subscribe for more summaries, and share it with someone who's ready to grow. Want deeper insights, exclusive book notes, and reading tips? Join our free newsletter. The link's in the description. And don't forget, if you'd like to read the full book, our affiliate link is right below. It helps support the channel and keeps the summaries coming. Until next time, keep reading, keep growing.